Ladies and gentlemen, back once again with the Renegade Master for another Football Manager 2023 experiment. You know the drill, you've seen the thumbnail. Let's just jump straight in, shall we? Milo the Great, with the great idea for this one. Milo has been bombarding the comments in recent weeks, demanding, very hilariously demanding, this experiment. Commenting on every experiment I've been doing, or at least a few of them from a few weeks ago, saying, this is a great experiment, but what I'd do is, and then go into this idea. So thank you very much, Milo. Your continued persistence was very much appreciated, and it did make me laugh. Great idea, though, so it was always on the cards. Just a hell of a lot of admin. So, yeah. Bank holiday weekend, here we are, recording, having made the database. Right, it's dribbling versus passing. We've gone with Scunthorpe versus Yeovil. And according to the media prediction, Scunthorpe are favourites for the league. So if we have a quick look at the squad, we have got all these players, 165 current ability out of 200. They're all frozen in their abilities, and this is their attribute breakdown. So Scunthorpe are the team that can't pass. So if we just go down, 1 for passing for every single player in Scunthorpe's team. Yeovil are the other team in question today. Exactly the same. 165 out of 200. Exactly the same players. We've done exactly the same thing. We've just duplicated. We've allowed Football Manager to push the attributes to the appropriate areas for position. I've made the position, made them have a current ability, and Football Manager's pre-game editor just fills in the blanks for me. However, I did have dribbling as one for Yeovil. So just going down, as you can see, the dribbling column, it just has 1 every single time. So there you go. So Yeovil, all their team have got transfers through to Chelsea in 2045, and I believe in Scunthorpe's case, I think it's probably Manchester City, is it? It is Manchester City, of course it is, because I am still very salty about City and Chelsea backdooring the way out of that transfer embargo. I'm never going to let that go. Plus, it's nice to see some of the bigger teams potentially lose a load of money in this capacity, and then other teams can maybe come through. I don't know. Maybe I should do it with like United and Liverpool and stuff at some point, but I suppose United aren't. Yeah, everyone pities United at the minute, don't they? Anyway, City and Chelsea have got the future transfers, and the clubs themselves, they've got a transfer embargo until 2044, so they've got 1 year when the players are still there to actually make some transfers. So straight off on the bat, we're looking at the season preview, and it looks like Scunthorpe are going to take the league title. And as you can see from the Media Dream 11, Scunthorpe have got, it's a 4-4-2 formation, and I've not actually got any wide midfielders, so that's why there's no wide midfielders there. But you've got just the Scunthorpe team, even though none of them can pass. So it seems like dribbling is less important than passing. Football Manager believes, because the media think that the passing deficient team are going to do much worse. Anyway, that is that for this opening introduction. I mean, what? Vanarama, League to League 2, to League 1, to Championship, to the Premier League. I'm thinking 4 years they should be in the Premier League. So straight off the bat, because we've had a long intro, we're going to go through 5 years. You can't see me. We're going to go through 5 years. Apologies about that early 2000s wrestling reference. Hope you enjoyed it. 5 years we're going to go through, and I'm anticipating both of Scunthorpe and Yeovil will be in the Premier League, and they'll have had 1 season in there. So will any of them have won it, or will they be? I don't know. Well, what will happen? We'll find out, won't we? Let's go and find out together. 5 years. Well. So the media said Scunthorpe are going to beat Yeovil. The passing deficient team is going to be better than the dribbling deficient team. Well, let me tell you now, that is not the case. 46 wins out of 46 for Yeovil, breaking records. 2 defeats for Scunthorpe. Of course, they were both to Yeovil, and the 1 draw against Halifax, who finished in mid-table mediocrity. 140 goals for Scunthorpe, only conceding 17, but Yeovil conceded just 4. Unbelievable stuff. And we followed that up. Yeovil again have taken the league title in Sky Bet League 2, beating Scunthorpe to the title by a singular point here. The goal difference was 1 better for Scunthorpe, so they've gone up, but Yeovil have taken the first 2. Let's have a look at League 1 then. Oh, and again, look at this. This is unbelievable. So for a start, let's just look at Yeovil have won it again. Yeovil have beaten Scunthorpe, but Scunthorpe have gone up in second place, the second automatic promotion place, undefeated. They drew 1-1. 6 times Yeovil drew 1-1 this season. Lots of draws for Scunthorpe. Too many draws, if you ask me, because of course, undefeated, they could have won the league. But Yeovil have got 3 league titles in a row then, so it turns out that passing is better than dribbling. No, that's the wrong way round, isn't it? No, yeah, passing is better than dribbling because passing is what Yeovil have, Scunthorpe have dribbling. Still, both going up consistently. I mean, 165 current ability, you would expect them to be just going straight up the leagues. So the time for the championship then. Oh, well. So Yeovil have gone up as champions. Just steamrolled it as every other season. Scunthorpe have missed out against West Ham. Oh, wow. Scunthorpe have 25-26. Let's have a look at this. Oh, they won their final game of the season, but look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 1-all draws in a row. Their signature result. Look, another one here. Another one. Look at how many 1-1 results there are. They must have... How many times did they draw 1-all? Scunthorpe are 1-1 merchants. I did not expect this to be something that we'd be picking up on. So Yeovil have gone up as champions. Scunthorpe did not even get promoted. They've missed out in the playoffs. Still over 90 points. Very unfortunate. And they've got up as champions the following year. Finally getting some other draw results other than 1-1. They got up as champions. Right, well done, Scunthorpe. So the Premier League then. Yeovil finished 4th and got Champions League football. So this next season, we're going to have Scunthorpe with their first season in the league, whereas Yeovil have got a balanced Champions League football along with their league campaign. In terms of the Papa John's Trophy, Yeovil won in 23-24 and Scunthorpe won in 24-25. So they've both actually shared a Papa John's Trophy. That's kind of nice. Scunthorpe actually beating Yeovil, so that's satisfying, isn't it? No passing versus no dribbling. Well then, right. So we are in Premier League, and I think it's probably only fair to, if we go 3 years now, we get to 2030, then that gives us 3 more increments of 5 years apiece. I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Let's go forward 3 more years then to 2030. But before we do that, as I mentioned earlier, thanks to Milo the Great, who did leave in the comments the suggestion for this experiment. If you've got any suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. Or if you've just got any comments in general, I'll read them. I'll get back to you. I do appreciate all feedback, whether it's good or constructive criticism. Just don't be a bellend. While you're there, like the video. Yeah. Nice one. Right, so we were last here. Scunthorpe had just come up, won the championship. First league trophy they've won on the way because they failed to go up the same year Yeovil did. So Yeovil got into the Champions League by finishing 4th. The following season, Yeovil finished 6th on 63 points, whereas Scunthorpe got Champions League football, finishing 4th. This is interesting. So Yeovil, in their first Champions League season, obviously it had an effect on them. And look how many 1-1s Scunthorpe had yet again. So the top 3 were like clearing away, 89, 84, 80, and then down to 64, 63, 63. So it was only right towards the back end of the season. Let's have a quick look at Yeovil then in the 27-28 season. So they went out in the Champions League phase, it appears. Carabao Cup quarter-final, FA Cup, 4th round, they lost to Liverpool. And they lost the last game of the season to Bournemouth, which probably did them no favours. Although Scunthorpe lost the last game of the season as well to Newcastle. So Newcastle leapfrogged Yeovil to get the Champions League football by beating Scunthorpe. Yeovil losing, missed out. But it is what it is. So we've got Yeovil going out in the Champions League phase. Then the following season, they're going to be in the Europa League with Scunthorpe in the Champions League. And we had Yeovil finishing 3rd and Scunthorpe missing out on Europe completely. Absolutely completely. So 28-29. They got to the round of 16. They went out in the round of 16 to Monaco. And they didn't do very well in the league. Unfortunately, they've missed out on any Europe whatsoever by finishing too low down in the table. Yeovil, on the other hand, got Champions League football by finishing 3rd, joint 2nd with Liverpool, just slightly worse on goals scored. Look at that for Man United winning the league. Man United winning the league for a start. Don't see that often in these experiments. 66 goals, being the top goal scorers in the league. For me, that's not good enough. I want 90 goals if I'm winning the league, 80 to 90. On the Oldham days, we're in the Premier League, and I don't know how many goals we've scored in our first season, but we're going to finish mid-table. Well, I've not finished the season yet, so at the time of recording, I'm loving it. Go and check out the Oldham days if you like the stuff on the channel, and you've not watched that yet. We've had an absolute ball getting to the Premier League, and we are there now. Been a roller coaster, but it has been a lot of fun. Anyway, back to this experiment. Yeovil. Oh, Yeovil absolutely had a season 2, remember. They got to the Europa League final, losing to Capitoline on penalties. William Winger, Christopher centre-back and Larry left-back all missing in the shootout. did not get a goal at all in that final. They must have been cursed. And then they lost in the FA Cup final 3-1 to Arsenal. Sammy Striker equalising in the second minute. What an opening to that game. And he's been capped by England. 3 caps, 2 goals at 23 years old. There we go then. And then the most recent season, we've got Yeovil have won the league and Scunthorpe have got Europa League football. We'll just have a quick check-in on Scunthorpe. Lost in the FA Cup 4th round, lost in the quarter-final of the Carabao Cups. There we go. And Yeovil then, they got to the fight. Oh, wow. Look at this. This is unbelievable. They've gone through on penalties against Milan, gone through on penalties against Barcelona. In the final of the Champions League, they've lost 2-1 to Manchester United after extra time. Oh, the heartbreak. The actual heartbreak. But they did pip Man United to the league title. Was it United who came second? It was. It was United who came second. Alex Attacker for Yeovil has got 25 caps, 7 goals. Let's have a look then at the England team and the England manager, more importantly. Gareth Southgate resigned and Ernesto Valverde took over. We will be checking in a second, gang. You know what we're going to be doing. Oh, I've missed it. I've Charl centre-back. Going to be Charlie. Embarrassing, isn't it? But you've got the Scunthorpe and the Yeovil counterparts. One can't dribble, one can't pass. Both Alex Attackers, both Sammy Strikers. You got Mikey midfielder, Corey centre mid, Walter winger, Roy right back. So a lot of the players are in the England squad. Lots of the players from Yeovil and Scunthorpe are in the England team. Ralph has not been the manager. He's currently at Crystal Palace. He loves going to Palace, doesn't he? Got relegated, got promoted, Championship Manager of the Year, relegated in 2026, and he stayed there till 2030, and he's been promoted once again. Little spoiler for you, gang. 30th of May will be my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, and we are going to be doing a very special reincarnated Ralph Hasenhüttl experiment. We are going to make him younger, and we're going to have a full episode of Ralph Watch. So if you don't like Ralph Watch, that won't be for you. But if you love Ralph Watch, then make sure you tune in for it. A little bit of fun for the 1-year anniversary of the channel. Anyway, right, 2030, Yeovil have won a league. As a FA Cup? Nothing for the FA Cup. Yeovil have just won the Carabao Cup as well, beating Man United in the final, getting revenge or losing in a few months in the Champions League final. Oh no, that was last season they lost in the Champions League final, wasn't it? Was it? I'm all over the place now. I've lost myself. No, it was this season. They beat United in the Carabao Cup final, beat them in the league, and then lost in the Champions League final. So, what would you rather? Champions League win or a league and Carabao Cup? If you never won any, I think you'd go league first, right? And Carabao Cup? I certainly would. It did feel kind of weird having, on last FM when I was Sunderland, I won the Champions League before I won the Premier League. It felt weird. Anyway, as by the by, we need to go through 5 more years. This video is really rumbling on. The 5 years we're going. So last time we were here, Yeovil won the league, Scunthorpe were 6th. In the following season, Yeovil slipped down to 4th and Scunthorpe were in 7th. And look how tight this league was. 5 points separating the top 5 teams. Like, last day of the season, if Liverpool won and Arsenal lost, you're talking like you could have had like a complete flip reverse, Blazing Squad style. So Yeovil and Scunthorpe both qualifying for Europe. Yeovil finishing 3rd, Scunthorpe down in 9th. So I think we're really finding the level to make teams competitive but not overpowered. 165 seems to be the ability. 170 on the lack of finishing test. Whilst they did not win the league every single year, they were winning a lot of trophies. 165 seems to have just taken us down that threshold and made it like slightly out of the ordinary for the team to win. Yeovil, though, considerably better than Scunthorpe, so it leads me to think that passing is... Which way round is it again? I keep forgetting. Passing is much more important than dribbling. Following season, Yeovil finishing 4th and Scunthorpe 7th. And then Yeovil finishing 2nd, 21 points behind Manchester United. Scunthorpe down in 12th. Qualifying for the Champions League. They've won Europa League. So Sergio Conceição is in charge of Man United. They've won 3 Champions Leagues. Liverpool have won a couple. Man United have got an all-timer of a team, haven't they? They've just got Jamal Musiala in on a free from Paris Saint-Germain. In a summer where they spent £339 million, they got Jamal Musiala in on a free. How do you even compete with that? Look at this. 46 million on this geese. A bit of a price if you ask me. He was all right. 54 million? Yeah. Anyway, signed Alejandro Garnacho from Bayern Munich. Sold him to Brentford for 23 million. Bayern Munich bought him for 122 million pounds. He did all right for Bayern Munich, and then they sold him for 51 million. I don't quite get why. He was a bit of a sub merchant, really, wasn't he? Never really commanded a place in the team. United brought him back home. Lots of big signings this season. Anyway, we're getting beside the point. That's just his most recent season. United have been dominating for years. Had a big transfer window here. £277 million he spent on this guy. 27. Current ability of 195, potential ability of 196. Well, there you go then. So we are up to date. Oh no, sorry, one more season. So and then there we go. We'll just have a quick look at Man United. That, and then now, this is the season where they've just bought all those players and they won on bloody goal difference to Liverpool. Yeovil, oh my word, 1 point behind. United lost the last two. They won 81 points with 2 games to spare. Yeovil were on 78 points with 3 games to go. They drew 2 and lost 1. Liverpool won 5 in a row. They came from way back here, burst up the league. So Scunthorpe qualified for the Europa League again. So we've got a Europa League win, haven't we? Yes, we have. Beating Tottenham in the final. And Arsenal fans will be even happier to see the following season that they beat Tottenham in the final. The most Spurs thing I've ever seen. Yeovil losing out to Capitally, and we saw, didn't we, in Europe? We've got 2 Carabao Cups though for Yeovil now. Yeovil beating Man United, losing to Arsenal in consecutive seasons, and the FA Cup. Last season, Yeovil beat West Ham. West Ham losing the final 3 seasons in a row. Championship winners Huddersfield have got to the FA Cup final as well. A couple of run-ups for Yeovil back here. But that's it for Europe. No European trophies for Yeovil. Round of 16, quarter-final, semi-final, final. So yeah, as the time goes on, they're actually getting worse in the Champions League. They've got to the round of 16 for the last 3 years in a row. Not doing great. What can you say? Consider we're doing better than Scunthorpe, though. That we will say that. Jude Bellingham at Liverpool? No Ralph. No Ralph at all. Sean Dyche in charge of Crystal Palace. Ralph Hasenhüttl's left a long time ago. He's director of football and he's unemployed. God. He went to the Man City. He went to West Ham and then he went to Man City to be the manager. Pep left after all that success, and Ralph goes, I'll have a bit of that. Yeah, balls on Ralph, eh? Got sacked just over a year in. When was that? 2033-34 he was there. Man City just got relegated. Man City have got relegated. Oh, he's doing this thing again, innit? Because sometimes when you have Chelsea are mid-table in League One. Chelsea are right down there. So on some experiments, when we have the future transfers in 2045 to the club just goes into turmoil and just flops. Other times, it doesn't happen like that. So I've got no idea why it's doing it, but it is. So Man City have just been relegated. Chelsea have been relegated a couple of times to League One. We're in 2035. We're going to 2040 now, which is the penultimate stop in the careers of Yeovil and Scunthorpe with the passing versus dribbling experiment. Yeah, you know what you're watching. You've been here for 20 odd minutes by now. So last time we were here, we saw this absolute storm of an end to the season. And then Liverpool come back the following season and won. Yeovil down in 5th. Scunthorpe down in 15th. Woo! That was a bad season for Scunthorpe. They did bounce back. Getting Europa League football. Yeovil still qualifying for the Champions League, only in 5th though. Then Yeovil in 4th, Scunthorpe in 7th. This season, Scunthorpe beating Yeovil in terms of position. 6 teams qualifying for the Champions League. Does that mean someone won the Europa League from England? It's only Scunthorpe or Wolves, isn't it? And it ain't Wolves because they've not qualified for it. Have Scunthorpe won another Europa League, or is that just Champions League coefficients? We're not sure, but Scunthorpe down here getting Europa League football threw it away towards the end of the season, missing out on 7 points, which would have had them in 3rd had they managed to take them. Yeovil in 5th. We've not even been paying attention to who's been winning the league. Has it been United every year? It bloody has as well. Oh, back to the Fergie days of boring Man United. Sergei Conte sounds absolutely laughing his head off. Scunthorpe then. I've got another Europa League. Can you believe it? And they've only got bloody Nuno Espirito Santo as the manager. Look at this. Jimmy Dean was sacked. Duration at the team. It doesn't say when he left or his duration, but yeah, why was he sacked? Because he had that bad season? Come on. Anyway, Nuno Espirito Santo has won a Europa League. Fair play to him. They beat Villarreal in the final. Have Yeovil done anything? Naki Wells is in charge of Yeovil. Mark Cooper retired, and he was always going to retire, a bit of a legend, wasn't he? Antonio Conte came in and couldn't even last a season. Probably did a press conference and slagged all the players off about not wanting to be there. Nick Cox was interim manager for 100 days, and then Naki Wells has been here for 4 years and 21 days. 5 cup wins. Sorry, a Champions League win. Yeovil have won the bloody Champions League. So we've had three English teams in a row. Look at this. Wow. So Yeovil got to the final against Atletico Madrid and lost. The following year, redemption, beating Bayern Munich in the final. Then Liverpool and Man United have won. Another FA Cup for them as well, beating Liverpool in the final, then losing in the final the following season. In terms of the Carabao, beating Newcastle for another Carabao Cup in 2036-37. Scunthorpe getting the name on the trophy as well, losing in 2037-38, coming runners-up, but following that up the following season by beating Liverpool in the final, getting their first of the experiments. So we're at 2040. 2045 is where they're all about to lose their best players. We are going to go there now. I think it's quite conclusive that Yeovil have had the better career, better team, better all-round everything, shall we say. So yeah. Didn't even notice Leicester had finished 17th on goal difference. Last time we were here, we saw I didn't really touch on Leicester had won the Europa League because we were too busy saying how Scunthorpe had won it the season before. Leicester stayed up on goal difference by 2 bloody goals and they won the Europa League. But the following season then, we had Yeovil in 6th and Scunthorpe are down in 12th. A bad season for Scunthorpe. Man United won it yet again. Watford are up there and Fulham. How long has this been happening? Watford have got up there. Fulham are up there. So Watford are up in the Europa League places quite a bit. Fair play. And then this season, Yeovil coming second, 12 points behind United, beating Liverpool on goal difference. Scunthorpe down in 5th. Both teams getting Champions League football for what is only the second time in the experiment, I believe. Watford missing out on the Champions League this time, but getting 6th place. And then, oh wow, Scunthorpe getting Champions League football, finishing 5th. But Yeovil, for the first time in the experiment, when they've been in the Premier League, outside of any European place whatsoever, finishing 10th. I'm telling you now, Naki Wells, you lost your job there, surely. He was sacked in 2043, and this is where we are. Naki Wells lost his job because of a poor season, which is kind of harsh, really. Well, no, it's not, because he took over when they were in the Premier League and he did do some good stuff for them. Anyway, and look at this. Wow, 2043-44, Scunthorpe second, Yeovil third. United still winning it. But this is the highest they've finished as a duo at all. And it was Scunthorpe beating Yeovil. And the current season, Watford have won the league. Didn't see that coming. Yeovil have come second, beating United on goal difference by a goal. Scunthorpe in 4th. It's been an experiment, hasn't it, gang? It has been an experiment. Andrew Villas-Boas in charge of Scunthorpe. So in terms of the Europa Leagues, we've had no more Europa League triumphs for anyone. And just the one Champions League triumph, and it was for Yeovil. So one Champions League for Yeovil, 2 Europa Leagues for Scunthorpe, 1 Premier League for Yeovil. It's Yeovil, isn't it, who've done the better. And they finished higher than Scunthorpe every single season. So there's no real comparison to be made. 2 FA Cups for Yeovil, runner-up 4 times through the experiment. Scunthorpe never even made the FA Cup final, sadly. Although the Carabao Cup, Yeovil took that 5 times in the experiment, where Scunthorpe just got it the once. So 5-1 in terms of Carabao Cups. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was manager of England for a little bit. So I'm just going to quickly do something. So they've actually made some big signings as well, like Scunthorpe and Yeovil. I'm just having a quick look now. Like Scunthorpe have spent 100 million, 182 million here. Not loads of players, but they've bought a few people in. And so by doing the transfer embargo to end a season before, it just allows them to spend a bit of the money that they've got and start to build a foundation. And there you've got 3 players. They've got nearly best part of £1 billion and they're about to sell their entire squad. The only player that's made it into being a legend for Yeovil is Winston Winger, which is interesting. None of them have made it into being legends for Scunthorpe. But anyway, that's much of a muchness. Let's have a quick look at the shortlist then. In terms of caps, look, over 100 caps for a couple of them for England. Well, loads of caps for loads of them, to be fair, for England. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the players never got a cap for England, which is quite funny, isn't it? Considering Walter Winger actually played 1,077 games for Scunthorpe, which actually I thought was quite a lot, but realistically, he's actually like 10th in the list. Mikey midfielder here, 1,204 games. He was ever present, wasn't he? Yeah, he did all right. Anyway, so there we go. Established is passing is better than dribbling because Yeovil did considerably better throughout the experiment. But we've got a little bit more to cover. Man City have just been relegated from the Championship. Now, all these players are going to go to Manchester. The Man City have just gone down in the Championship. And Chelsea are in the Vanarama National League. Missed out in the playoffs. So Chelsea and City are going to get a squad full of players. Surely a couple of promotions are going to be on the cards. I've simmed another few years, so we're going to go and have a look how Scunthorpe and Yeovil do with the rebuild, see if they can stay in the Champions League sort of places. Can they kick on and actually get that league title? Or Scunthorpe maybe. So who will do better in those few years? And will City and Chelsea recover? That's going to be the final bit. So we are here in the Premier League and looking at it. Yeovil are 4th, Scunthorpe are 7th. So it's quite nice to see that whilst none of them have won it. Yeovil have come third a couple of times. So here we were. This is where we were. So we've got Yeovil in 13th, Scunthorpe in 14th. Wow, they both slipped down the table there. Yeovil actually got relegated, whereas Scunthorpe got Europa League football. So Scunthorpe in this season finished 16th. Man City are back as well. Yeovil came storming back. 5 points deducted from Man City. Violation of budget rules, whatever that means. Financial fair play. Didn't quite make the difference. They didn't go down. Scunthorpe finishing 9th, getting Europa League football. So they've won a trophy. Yeovil getting 3rd place, getting Champions League football. 8th for Yeovil and 10th for Scunthorpe. Man City back in the mid-table. Conference League football for Arsenal finishing all the way down here. The Yeovil and Scunthorpe is there. So Yeovil have consistently been better than Scunthorpe throughout the entire experiment, even post the players leaving. Same again. Oh, both of them getting Europe here though. And again, and that's it, the most recent season. So Man City are here in 10th. Did Chelsea ever manage to sort of climb back up the league somewhat? They're in the Championship. Chelsea are in the Championship. Fair play to them. And they just lost in the final to West Brom. As you can see here on the right hand side, Yeovil, when they did go down, they did come straight back up. Man City also came up with those players. And that's it. That's the end of the experiment. I hope you've enjoyed it, gang. A lot of fun, actually, telling the story and going through these two attributes diverse sort of thing. I actually genuinely had a great time making it, and I thought it was very interesting. So the question is there two attributes that you'd like to see compared against each other in a similar sort of style? I know we've done pace on its own. I know we've done finishing on its own. There's plenty of other attributes out there that we could compare. Let me know in the comments down below what you would like to see, if anything like this at all, or anything completely different, like whatever. Just any suggestions welcome. I'll take it on board. But I do like the idea of doing a few more of these sort of comparative, sort of narrative things. I thought it was really fun, and yeah, hopefully you do too. Like I said, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. But most importantly, gang, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.